if you want to advance the field by encouraging people to build new, interesting protocols, then I think the only way that you can participate in a trustless way.
David, thank you so much for coming and joining the pod. It is such a treat to have you here. And we're here in beautiful Turkey, Istanbul. Yeah. I don't know if you remember that we were on a Twitter space. This must have been 5 or 6 months ago. Yes. And I said, you must come to Istanbul.
That's right.
Do you remember?
Yes, that's what got me thinking about coming here. So thanks for inviting me here, Isabel.
My pleasure. Bitcoin++ is a very special conference. I feel like you got a little bit of a sense of it last night at the speaker dinner.
That's right.
What was your take on the conference just from the speaker dinner?
Yeah, I was surprised at how technical the people are because, a lot of Bitcoin conferences tend to be a little bit more or less technical.
Yeah.
We say.
Crypto conferences in general.
Crypto conferences in general are not very technical.
That's right.
There are all kinds of people, but this one seems to be
quite technical,
which is good.
Yes. I think that is sort of definitely the vibe of Bitcoin++. It's run by Nifty Nay, who is top core Lightning developer in her own right, and she is able to get all these incredible speakers, core devs, everyone building every kind of, sort of interesting, impactful protocol on Bitcoin. So yeah, she puts together a really interesting group. So yeah, I'm thrilled to go to any Bitcoin++. But yeah, so we're here in Turkey. I'm excited to chat with you about Babylon, obviously. You are the founder of Babylon.
Yeah, co-founder.
The co-founder, of Babylon, which has definitely made a stir in the Bitcoin ecosystem, especially in sort of the Bitcoin Season 2 ecosystem over the past year or two. But you're a professor at Stanford, and I assumed when somebody told me that you were a cryptography professor, but you're an engineering professor.
Yeah, so actually my academic training is not in cryptography. It's in a field called information theory, which is like an adjacent field to cryptography.
Oh, it is? Because I Googled this and in my head I was like, what's information theory? And I didn't get a satisfactory response from ChatGPT.
Yeah, so this guy who invented information theory, his name is Claude Shannon.
Okay.
He invented it in 1948. He wants to quantify what it means by information and what it means by communicating information.
Okay.
So his theory is actually the underlying principle of every communication device we use nowadays.
Like wireless communication.
Wi-Fi, wireline, cables.
What's the core breakthrough that it enables? Like why? Like what is it doing?
So the core breakthrough that enables the following is basically telling you that any physical communication medium, you can figure out using this theory what's the fastest way at which you can push information bits through.
Oh, interesting.
Because all these physical medium is noisy.
Right.
And they distort the signal.
Right.
So he has a theory which tells you how to compute the fastest rate, and fastest way to push for information.
It's like if you can compute Moore's law for communication or something. It's like...
Yeah, so unlike Moore's law though, so Moore's law doubled every 18 months, right? The speed and the size. However, information has a limit.
It's definitive.
There's a fastest rate at which you can push
and you can calculate that immediately using this theory.
So the beautiful thing about this is a theory, but it's also a very profound practical impact because all the systems that we use, like the cell phones, the chips are actually computing the algorithms that achieved this limit that Shannon predicted 80 years ago.
It sounds like you got nerd sniped by this technology and kind of fell down the rabbit hole.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful theory which has a lot of practical applications. And so I started in this field, information theory. I applied it to wireless communication. So in those days, it was near the beginning of the wireless revolution. There was only about maybe a few million of cell phones around.
This was like the 90s, early 90s?
So in those days, the cell phones are that big, okay?
Of course.
In fact, the bigger they are, it's like a status symbol.
Right.
So people carry these phones
You want
around,
a big cell phone.
and then they bang and they put it on the table to show their status that, hey, I have one of these devices. And so that was the start of the wireless revolution. And I happened to be there. And I was able to apply this information theory, which I was trained in devising new algorithms to communicate. And I contributed to the standard. So I don't mean to brag, but every time you use a cell phone, you're using my algorithm.
Oh my gosh, What's the algorithm called?
It's called proportional fair scheduling algorithm.
Okay.
So it is a way for the base station to schedule information they send to many, many cell phones.
Oh my
So typically, if a
gosh.
base station will serve many, many cell phones, and how to schedule the information turns out to be quite important. And I figured out a very nice and simple algorithm, which is in all the cell phones that everyone uses.
Oh my gosh, I love that. Wait, so then so you've been in tech forever, it sounds like. And so you were out in California and Silicon Valley decades ago. How'd you get into Bitcoin, blockchain? What came first? Like, what was your story there? Because I know you've sort of been around a few things.
Yeah, so that was in the mid 2017, 2018. So at that time, wireless has already been quite mature. There are already many generations of iPhones. Almost everyone has a iPhone, a cell phone by that time. And so I was thinking of a new research area.
Like, what's next?
What's next? And then I stumbled upon the Satoshi Nakamoto's white paper.
When was this?
This was 2018. 2018. Yeah, a friend of mine, a colleague of mine, recommended this paper for me to read. At that time, I thought Bitcoin was some scam.
Of course,
okay.
Yeah.
That's all I thought. I did not know there's actually a very cool technology behind it until my friend told me about, hey, this is a very cool technology. And when I read it, then I figured out it's quite related to the communication problem that I've been working on. But here, there's an extra layer of security. In communication, so I communicate with you, right? We don't assume that we are malicious.
Right.
But in blockchains, you have to always be secure against malicious actors.
Yep.
And so that's the new twist that makes the problem much more interesting. And so I started working in that area. As you mentioned, I'm a professor. So I started a research group focusing just on blockchains.
This is not the Stanford blockchain something?
No. Stanford blockchain, you talk about Stanford Blockchain Club?
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah, that's mainly undergraduate students.
Okay.
But I started a research group.
Oh, for blockchain or Bitcoin or both?
No, blockchain in general.
Okay.
Consensus protocol. But the first paper I wrote, now that we are in this Bitcoin plus scales, I should say that actually the first paper I wrote was how to scale Bitcoin.
Really?
Yeah. What's the optimal way of scaling Bitcoin?
What was your, what did you think at the time? What was the thesis?
So one thing we observed, two things we observed about Bitcoin is that it's very secure, but very slow.
Right.
Okay, those are the two observations. And so our task at that time was understand, well, if you want to keep the security, how much faster can you run Bitcoin? Okay. Or can you modify Bitcoin in a simple way to make it run faster?
Okay.
So that was the research problem we set for ourselves.
Okay.
And so we designed a new protocol called Prism, which achieves this goal of ours. Now, you look at me, right? You say, hey, wait a minute, this guy, David Tse, he's telling me that he has this very cool protocol which scales Bitcoin, but how come I've never heard of it?
Well, what did it do? What was wrong with it,
What is he talking
David?
about? What is wrong with it, right?
Yeah.
You've been so good that it should be deployed everywhere.
Yeah.
Well, something interesting happened in 2018-19. We won a clock back, right? At that time, Bitcoin is by far less dominant than now, okay?
Okay.
The developers, they don't think about Bitcoin. Nobody thinks about Bitcoin. At that time, everyone was thinking about moving to proof of stake.
Oh, you mean, right. The broad majority. The broad majority was going to the
Solana,
ETH
Ethereum of the world, right?
Right.
So all the developer action is moving that way.
That's right, yeah.
So when we came up with this high throughput version of Bitcoin, we thought it was very exciting.
Was it a fork of Bitcoin?
No. It's not a fork of Bitcoin.
What is it?
Totally different protocol, totally new protocol, but it's based on the basic principles of Bitcoin.
Is it a UTXO model?
So UTXO is the execution layer. So let me clarify. In a blockchain, typically there are two layers. There's the consensus layer,
right,
and there's the execution layer.
Right.
So for Bitcoin, for example, the consensus layer is called longest chain protocol.
Okay.
And the execution layer is the UTXO model.
Right.
Okay. So we are working at the consensus layer.
Okay.
So
So
it
you're
doesn't
using
matter what
proof
the
of work.
execution. Yes, I was using proof.
But the execution layer was state-based.
Yeah, the execution layer is kind of irrelevant
Well,
to the protocol because we're only focusing on the consensus part. But you can put UTXO model on top of that.
you just wanted to make something that was proof of work that was fast.
Correct. Exactly.
That was the goal.
Yes.
Okay. That makes sense. Okay. So that's sort of how you got into like
Yeah.
blockchain generally.
Yeah.
But you did quite a bit with the Cosmos ecosystem. I feel like you're famous in the Cosmos. I don't know if you know this. You probably do. Yeah. I have some friends in Puerto Rico who are sort of tangentially involved with the Cosmos ecosystem. And they tell me that you're a legend in the Cosmos ecosystem. Do you know why they would say that?
Well, when we started Babylon,
Okay.
the Babylon thesis was to connect the proof of work Bitcoin world
Okay.
with the proof of stake world.
Okay.
And the proof of stake, there are many blockchains,
Right.
but we focus on the Cosmos ecosystem.
Why? Why Cosmos?
Yeah, so Cosmos ecosystem is very interesting because the technology is actually very solid, very mature.
Okay.
And in fact, many blockchains that you didn't know it was part of Cosmos actually uses this Cosmos SDK to build.
Okay.
So we know of the stack and
Right.
we want to build on top of the stack. So that's the ecosystem
So
we
you
started.
chose it just because you thought it was like more
It's good
technically
technology,
robust than
Yeah.
other options.
Yeah.
And I have heard this from other
And still
people in crypto land.
Well, even now, many blockchains are built on Cosmos.
I have heard. I mean, I have heard this from my friends who have eyes in the other world. That Cosmos that's a reputation of Cosmos. So you intentionally chose Cosmos. You were like, we want to build on the stack because it's kind of better battle tested, better built.
Very better testing.
And so, but at that point,
but
Babylon,
remember, at that point, Ethereum has not even transitioned to proof of stake yet.
Right.
So there was no
this was
Ethereum
when? When did the Babylon idea come to be? When was this?
Oh, the Babylon idea started in 2022, the beginning of 2022. But the Babylon idea evolved over multiple different protocols.
Okay, so let's talk about the Babylon idea. How was Babylon born? What was the original idea? How did it evolve? What was Babylon initially?
The Babylon idea was, the high-level idea was the following. So Bitcoin is the most secure blockchain, okay? Whereas these newer proof-of-stake blockchain typically are less secure, right? Less secure. They're newer and so forth. So the idea was, how do we leverage off the Bitcoin security and share it with these new proof-of-stake blockchain, like the Cosmos blockchain?
Okay.
So that was the thesis. That was the beginning.
Okay.
Beginning.
How are you defining Bitcoin security in that situation, right? Well, actually, let's hold off on that question. Okay, so how do you create that? What's the solution to creating Bitcoin security for these other blockchains?
Yeah. So that's how we came up with this protocol called Bitcoin staking.
Okay.
Right. So if you think about it, Bitcoin is proof of work. Okay.
Right.
Whereas a Cosmos chain, for example, is proof of stake.
Okay.
Okay. What does the proof of stake blockchain mean? It means that the security is provided by capital as a collateral to secure the blockchain.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So therefore, the bigger the size of the capital, the more security it is.
Okay. Yeah, right? I buy that. Yeah.
Now, for a lot of these Cosmos chain, the asset typically is small size, at least when they launch. Okay?
That makes sense, right?
So therefore, the security is low, at least when they launch.
Okay.
So our idea was, why don't we take this largest asset in the world, digital asset in the world, Bitcoin?
Meaning just most liquidity, in theory, if they're willing to put it up. Yeah,
and use that to secure any proof of stake blockchain in the world. So that was the vision.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And to solve that problem, there was some technological hurdle.
Because you wanted to do it trustlessly. I mean,
I want to do it trustlessly.
Right.
For example, a potential solution to this problem is the following. You first bridge the Bitcoin, to the proof of stake blockchain, just like, WBTC or Coinbase BTC, you bridge it over.
Right.
And then you use the asset on that chain.
Right, which is not trustless at all.
Yeah,
this is highly custodial.
The bridge is very custodial. So we didn't want this kind of solution. And so we think of a way of keeping the Bitcoin on the Bitcoin blockchain, never create any wrapped asset on the proof of stake blockchain,
Smart.
but yet remotely still able to provide security through this mechanism called slashing.
Okay.
So slashing is a very core mechanism in proof of stake blockchain.
Okay. Right.
Is in general.
This is the key thing. This is what proof of stake basically is.
Yeah.
Is you get, if you screw around, you find out, and your collateral gets slashed.
Exactly. You can think of an analogy. It's like you use your house, to borrow some money. Then you put your house as collateral. But if you default, then your house get taken away from you.
Right.
So that's slashing. So similarly, we need a slashing mechanism.
Right.
And in proof of stake blockchain, typically the slashing mechanism is achieved by writing a smart contract on the proof of stake chain.
Right.
Because slashing means that you need to figure out whether or not the validator has violated the rules of the game.
You need to have a mathematical condition,
Exactly.
execute the slash.
Yeah. You have to check the conditions. It says violated, and then you slash. Okay. So so typically this is done by programming a smart contract.
Right. With smart contract land, this is not a problem.
Yeah. So Bitcoin have no smart contract.
Right.
And so we were not able to program this condition.
Right. There's no like VM. Yeah.
There's no, So, and then we realized that one thing about Bitcoin, is that all these protocols that people have already built on Bitcoin, like Lightning, Atomic Swap, and they're all built on this concept called secret revelation.
Yeah.
So in other words, what you do is that you basically say that if something bad happens, or something good happens,
a condition of any
kind, that condition leads to a secret being extracted by whatever actors.
Which basically means a private key being revealed.
Yes. And then this private key is used to spend the Bitcoin, right? So Bitcoin is the collateral. You spend Bitcoin. So this idea, I think, was first used in Lightning. Lightning is the OG, right? It's the OG Bitcoin protocol. The secret revelation is actually used in Lightning.
Where is a secret key revelation used in Lightning?
So it's not secret. So it's okay. So the idea is the following, right? So in Lightning, you open a chat, two people open a channel,
right? And
then they do a lot of off-chain transactions,
right?
On Bitcoin, and then they settle back,
right?
Okay,
right.
Now the settlement typically is one person claiming that, hey, in my ledger, local ledger, I have 7 Bitcoin left over. Okay. Maybe I start with 10 and now I have 7. Okay.
Okay.
The other person can always challenge this person and say, hey, you know what? We have done the state transition and it wasn't 7. You only have 5. Okay? And this challenge is actually done by extracting a secret and using the secret to basically slash.
So in the event of a disagreement, then there's a secret key revelation.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so it turns out that in our problem of staking, the main violation that we want to punish is called double sign. Okay?
Double spending.
Double spend.
Right.
So just to recap, right? In Nakamoto's white paper, the very first line he wrote was, this paper is about solving the double spend.
Yeah, that's the key's problem to solve. Yeah.
Right. So we figure out that this double spend problem can be converted into a secret key revelation problem.
So if someone double spends, you can trigger a key reveal.
Exactly. So we find a cryptographic construction.
How did you do that? That was through cryptographic. How complex would it be to explain how that actually works? Like, how did you make that possible? Because does that require like introspection of some kind?
No. No, this is completely off-chain.
Oh, it's off-chain.
Very important.
Oh.
This secret revelation, like the Lightning case.
So the key is off-chain at one point.
Yeah, the key is
where
with
is
the
key being held off-chain?
It's the validator's key.
It's the validator's key.
The validator's key.
But it is somewhere on some validation node that will automatically reveal it to whomever.
If they sign twice. If they double sign.
Oh, interesting. Okay,
Yeah,
that
so we
makes
figure
sense.
out that there
So
is
that's why
a
they're incentivized not to double spend, because if
correct.
they do, then they actually execute their own transaction to lose their Bitcoin effectively.
Yeah. So what happens if they lose if the private key is extracted,
Right.
revealed, then a challenger
Right.
can slash the Bitcoin that is staked on that validator.
Okay, that makes sense. Wait, so I asked you earlier, this is live, this is happening.
Mhm.
Has anyone been slashed?
No.
No. So the incentives are just such that you don't
Yeah.
necessarily
So
anticipate
yeah.
slashing
So the very
happening.
interesting thing about economic security, or these in general challenge-based security scheme,
Yep.
is that if you design it properly,
Mm.
then actually the bad event never happens.
Right, exactly. The point of it is to just keep people honest.
Yeah. So give an example. In the Arbitrum roll-up, it's also challenge-based. But all
Right.
these years, just since launch, there's not been a single challenge.
Right. Well, and this is like BitVM. Any optimistic system, BitVM 2, we'll talk about BitVM 3 or Garbled circuits at some point, but BitVM 2 works like this too, right? The idea is that it might be very expensive to do a challenge, but in practice, hopefully no challenges may even ever occur.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, so you have the staking mechanism. You guys were very, very successful with fundraising. I mean, I think you have, how much Bitcoin liquidity is currently being staked through Babylon right now?
There are roughly 56,000, 55,000, 56,000 Bitcoin.
That's a lot of Bitcoin. What is that in dollars right now? I don't even know.
About $6 billion.
$6 billion being staked with this mechanism. And are they all being staked? So we spoke last night a little bit about, so these sort of staking mechanisms can plug into any type of blockchain.
Correct.
Or specific, you said there's certain tech stacks though.
Yeah, so in principle, in theory,
right,
this can be modularly added
to
any blockchain.
Right.
But we have done the development work for 3 stacks.
Okay.
One is the Cosmos, naturally. That was the first target.
Makes sense.
And then 2 is the Optimism, OP stack.
Okay.
And 3 is Arbitrum stack.
Which stack is most widely used right now?
Right now, the chains that are launching with us are split roughly equal
between the 3
stacks.
Okay.
That's why we chose these 3 stacks in the first place.
Because there was clear demand.
Because our customers are coming from these 3 stacks.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay, so that's super. I mean, that's pretty good. And what is the kind of yield that you can get on something like this? If you're a staker, what are the stakers trying to get back out of this?
Yeah, actually, right now you can look at the dashboard. I think the yield is about 0.3%.
0.3%.
0.3% APR.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Which for trustlessness is better than a kick in the teeth kind of thing. Right. Okay.
So it's interesting, right? Typically, when you think about DeFi yield, you think like 5-6% or even double digit, right?
Right.
But don't forget, we're trying to give yield to $6 billion.
Yeah.
So what we're quite surprised about, one thing is that even though the yield is 0.3%, this 6 billion Bitcoin is still there.
Yeah.
So people can choose, right? They can leave any time, actually, but they did not. So which is something very interesting is that if you have a trustless protocol, then people come.
Yeah, well,
so that's one thing we learned.
That was one thing I noticed. You tweeted this, and it was interesting because I agree with you on this sentence. You said 99% of Bitcoin is held idle, not because of lack of interest, but because of lack of trust, which is pretty much my thesis as well. But some people might argue with that and say, oh, clearly people don't have a problem with trust. People put up their money in these super custodial exchanges and this and that all of the time. And, we maybe overestimate, the customers' education around this. What's your response to that?
Certainly there are Bitcoin on centralized exchanges. No doubt about that, right? But here we're talking about, think about it, right? Babylon is a startup.
Okay? Is a what?
It's a startup.
It's a startup.
It's a new protocol. Relatively new protocol. So we're not a Coinbase, a listed company.
Right.
Okay. So we don't have any reputation, right?
Right. Sure. Yeah. Exactly.
But people stake on this protocol.
Because they don't need to trust you,
Yeah,
because they
because
can
they don't
trust
need
the
to trust us.
code.
That's right. That's
Right,
right.
right. Trust the code is
Yeah,
really like
yeah.
the key ethos.
So I
thing.
think if you want to advance the field by encouraging people to build new, interesting protocols, then I think the only way that you can participate in a trustless way.
You need trustlessness, because otherwise you need 20 years to develop a reputation. And like,
because
even then,
Coinbase, that's a listed company, it probably won't rug pull you.
But probably, right? I mean, yeah, even then, it's a little like you don't really know.
But if you look at the data, it's interesting, right? Even like Coinbase BTC is less than 0.5% of the total BTC. So which means that
most people are not.
Yeah.
I mean, and I think that would be like my own answer to my own question would be, yes, of course, like there are people who just like throw their Bitcoin on Coinbase or whatever, but they're like smaller retailers, right? Like if you're talking about like big giant whales who like know what they're doing and know what they're talking about, those people really care about trustlessness. So, I mean, I imagine, and that actually leads me to another question. All right, guys, I want to take a quick break to thank you for watching and remind you to click the follow button on my profile if you want more Bitcoin technical deep dives like this. I also want to give a shout out to my partners for making the show possible. My leading partner, Best in Slot, just released the programmability module for BRC20, making the execution of smart contracts possible for the protocol. I know that's been long awaited by the BRC20 community. Alongside this release, Best in Slot put out what is arguably the most sophisticated DEX for trading Bitcoin native assets called Coin Cooker, which I also highly recommend checking out if you want to dive into the BRC20 trading game and get started executing smart contracts on Bitcoin. I'd also like to thank Cetrea, building one of the leading implementations of a BitVN-style bridge for Bitcoin. Cetrea is building what I think could become the canonical Bitcoin rollup, enabling programmability, scaling. Really anything is possible with a trust-minimized bridge, which is the unique value prop of these BitVM-style rollups on Bitcoin. Lastly, I'm thrilled to announce my newest partner, Spark, which is the leading state chains protocol on Bitcoin. State chains builds upon what was made possible by the Lightning Network for payments, but without the liquidity constraints and the UX challenges that often make self-custodial Lightning impractical. Spark is also led by one of the leading payments infrastructure teams on the planet, including founders from PayPal, Facebook. They're incredibly well positioned to turn Bitcoin into a true institutional standard for payment systems around the world, and I couldn't be more excited to support what they're up to. All right, on that note, let's get back to the show. Who are the people who are staking on Babylon right now? Like, what is the profile? Do you have an idea? Obviously, I'm sure these are all non-KYC situations, but, who is this person that is staking on Babylon their Bitcoin?
Yeah, so there's around 200,000 individual stakers on Babylon.
Of varying sizes? Like, what's the highest staked amount?
But the median size is 0.005 Bitcoin. Which is the smallest possible, actually.
That's the smallest.
Yeah.
Okay.
So 0.005 Bitcoin is what is like.
Wait, so the median is the smallest possible?
It's like $5,000.
So that means absolutely the vast majority is 0.005.
At least half is small.
Okay.
Now, there are also some big stakers.
Okay.
For example, one day in December, 10,000 Bitcoin came in.
Okay.
One guy. 3 transactions. 5,000, 3,000, 2,000.
Okay.
Back to
back.
Big
day.
Yeah, back to back. And the person is still there. So we don't know. We have no idea.
You have no idea who he is.
No.
Just some whale came in with 10,000 Bitcoin and just staked it.
Yeah. 10,000 Bitcoin is over $1 billion.
Jeez.
So it's crazy, huh?
I mean, yeah, that's what happens when you have trustless protocols. And
I think that person must have done quite a bit of research. He came in near the end of our cap. So we opened up the cap.
Oh, you capped it?
Yeah, we capped it. We opened up the cap, and near the end, he came in. The last 2 days, I think.
Why'd you cap it? Why was there like only a specific window where you could stake? Why not just have people be able to come in and out?
Right. Why do we cap it? I think we're trying to create some FOMO or something like that, maybe.
Okay. This is marketing. This is a marketing choice. Okay. No, fair enough. Cool. Okay. So Babylon, this staking is happening. It's working. People are making money. But this was not the original. I guess this was the original project, but the grander vision of Babylon, it seems like it was maybe bigger than just the staking mechanism. This is something I've heard you say on other shows. What do you think is sort of like the grand, like long-term vision for Babylon beyond this particular project?
Yeah. So of course, if I'm totally not so honest, I would say, yeah, we have a grand vision from the beginning.
Yeah.
We're just building out this vision step by step. However, like any project, like any startup, we evolve, we learn from what we build, and we continuously try to find better and better product market fit.
Makes sense. Yeah.
And so what we learned from building the staking protocol is that, hey, what we're doing really is creating a new native use case for Bitcoin. Okay. And the use case is coming from the DeFi world.
It's the proof of stake collateral use case.
Yeah, because staking is actually a very basic DeFi activity.
Right.
And in fact, it's a foundation activity below other things. And so we realized that, hey, if we can do staking, maybe we can also use Bitcoin natively to participate,
in broader DeFi.
Other protocols, other DeFi protocols.
Okay.
And actually, we found out that a lot of these DeFi protocols have a very similar structure to staking in the sense that you're offering an asset as a collateral.
Right.
And then based on certain conditions, you slash the asset.
Okay.
In the case of lending, for example, this slashing is called liquidation.
Right. All lending.
But it's just known by a different name.
Right.
The structure is very similar.
This was like the big question for me when I first heard about this technology is like, is it generalizable to lending broadly?
Yeah. So when we came up with the staking protocol, then the research team within Babylon is always trying to find the next big thing.
Right.
Okay? And so the next big thing, the natural question was, can we generalize, these slashing conditions to general conditions so that we can apply this concept to any applications? Okay. For example, in the case of lending, you slash or you liquidate typically when the price of the collateral asset goes below a certain liquidation threshold.
And they don't meet their, collateral call event. Right.
So it's pretty complicated. It depends on the protocol.
Right.
So the problem is that these events are more complicated than this double sign that we had.
Right, because it was such
slashing.
a specific
double sign was very
specific
and we're lucky because there was a cryptographic construct called one-time signature, which enables us to reveal the secret.
You had the tools you needed in Bitcoin.
We had the tools, perfect match.
For the staking.
It's like match in heaven.
Yeah.
But for the more general case, we don't have the tools. We don't have the tools.
What would you need? Like in your head, what were you thinking you might need to make it work?
Yeah, actually, I formulated a cryptographic problem. So remember, I'm not a cryptographer.
Right.
But I know a lot of friends who are good cryptographers.
I bet you do.
So I would talk to people like Professor Dan Bonnet. I don't know if you've heard of Dan Bonnet.
Of course. Yeah, Robin speaks of him often.
BLS signature.
Right, okay.
B is Bonnet.
Okay.
So I formulated this problem and asked him. I said, hey, I want basically a way to reveal a secret if certain conditions are violated, and that condition is general. Is there a cryptographic construction which enables me to do that?
What did he say?
He said, I don't know of one. And he actually worked on it quite a bit.
Huh.
And he told me that I couldn't find a good solution to the problem.
Okay.
And until 3 or 4 months ago.
Okay.
So while I've been thinking about this problem, Robin Linus, who I believe was your previous earlier visitor, podcast, you did a podcast with him, he came with this idea of BitVM. Now, if you look at BitVM, it's actually a very different structure than our secret revelation.
Yeah.
Because BitVM actually doesn't extract any secret.
No.
It basically tries to run a verifier, a ZK verifier,
right,
on chain, and he has all these tricks to optimize things to make it practical or at least doable.
Right. Create a verifier using script that's optimized so that it actually makes sense to put it on Bitcoin.
Yeah. So in about April, Jeremy Rubin.
Mm.
Jeremy Rubin, one of the
Brilliant
Bitcoin
developers. He
legend.
was also a guest on the show, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, so yes, like a family reunion.
You're getting the vibe.
So he said, hey, you know what? There's an alternative to Robin's construction, which uses a cryptographic construction called Garbled circuit.
Mm.
And when I looked at that construction, then I realized that this is exactly what we have been looking for.
That's what you had wanted.
In the past 2 years.
That's what you were looking
because
for.
Because the Garbled circuit is basically a way for you to decrypt a secret
and then
when
reveal
certain
the key.
When certain condition is violated.
The Garbled circuits actually are a key reveal technology.
Yes,
ultimately,
yes.
like that is
And
literally
not only
what it is.
But it's a key revelation technology for general conditions.
Right, which is amazing.
Which you basically encode into the circuit.
Wait, I can't believe, why do you think it took so long for us to figure that out as Bitcoiners? I mean, thank you, Jeremy Rubin, for your hard work. And then I know Liam also contributed to this significantly. I don't know exactly what his role was, but
I believe similar time frame.
Okay.
I think he came up with similar ideas.
Okay.
But I think to give the credit properly, I think Jeremy Rubin was the first
to say you could.
Not only say, it's written. It's a written.
Oh, he wrote
in the paper. Here's the paper.
Oh, interesting. Okay, so it's Jeremy Rubin, and then Liam kind of like took it and ran with it at Alphen.
Yeah, many people took it.
Okay, right. Okay.
And so this idea was introduced in April.
Okay.
And then BitVM Alliance, of which Babylon is a part.
Okay.
Together, we worked out quite a lot of construction in that general framework.
So the BitVM Alliance is working together on the Garbled circuits idea.
Yes.
Because my understanding is that also the different BitVM implementations will have different BitVM 3, if you want to call Garbled circuits BitVM 3 implementations as well, in different ways that they're using it. Like how does that all work in the BitVM Alliance?
Oh, so this idea was actively debated.
Okay.
In the BitVM Alliance, many people.
Like whether you should use it.
No, not whether you should use it. It's how to use it. So Garbled circuit is a very general, it's a class of construction, not one particular.
Right.
There are many versions of Garbled circuit.
Oh.
Okay.
Are there like different implementations? And
different implementation, different encryption strategy.
Interesting.
And you also have to prove that your Garbled circuit is correct.
Oh, interesting.
Because otherwise, if I give you a faulty Garbled circuit,
right,
and you cannot use it to reveal the secret.
Right. Right.
So you have to somehow, before you receive my Garbled circuit,
right,
you have to somehow check that is correct.
Interesting.
Okay? So there are many ways of proving the correctness of
Garbled circuit is like a family. It's like a specific type of proving system.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so many actually it's very active. Many people came up with different ideas. And
they're all using Garbled circuits differently, and they're using different types of Garbled circuits.
Pretty much right now, all the methods are Garbled circuit based.
Okay.
There are actually non-Garbled circuit based solutions to this problem of secret revelation.
There are no Garbled circuits.
There are.
Oh, there are
non-Garbled circuit based.
Okay.
But those construction are not very practical. Garbled circuit is the most practical.
Okay. Oh, you're saying like BitVM 2.
No, not BitVM 2. No. Remember, BitVM 2 is basically putting the verifier on chain.
Right.
BitVM 3 is...
secret reveal.
The reason why I don't call it Garbled circuit, I call it BitVM 3, is because BitVM 3, in my mind, is based on secret revelation.
Oh, that's super interesting.
Garbled circuit is one way of revealing a secret, but there are other ways.
Oh, so it's so funny because obviously this is also controversial. Like, what should we name this thing? What is this thing named? But you're actually team, let's call it BitVM 3, because it leaves open the ability to do it with different kinds of Garbled circuit styles. Is that fair?
Yeah, I mean, you can call it secret revelation, but I think BitVM 3 is pretty okay name because it is an evolution of BitVM 2. In fact, BitVM 3 uses some construction of BitVM 2.
It does.
And combine it with a secret revelation strategy.
What does it bring from BitVM 2 and what does it lose from BitVM 2?
Okay. So BitVM 2 is a challenge-based protocol, as you know. Now, what it needs is that the one who wants to claim the money, has to put up the proof that, hey, I am a legitimate claimer of this money on the Bitcoin chain. Okay. All right.
Yep.
Then the challenger will take that proof okay,
Mm-hmm.
and run it into his verifier,
Mm-hmm.
and then we'll send the trace of the verifier execution
Mm-hmm.
to Bitcoin. Say, no, your proof is not correct because the verifier doesn't run as you said it would if it were correct.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
So that's the structure.
Right.
Now, BitVM 3 has a very similar structure. Is that again, the claimer put a proof on chain.
Okay.
But now the challenger, instead of putting the verified trace on chain, which is very big, so that's a 4 megabyte block.
Right, the huge, enormous amount of data.
Marathon made some money off.
Right, right.
$15,000.
I was going to say, we'll talk about that in a second.
All right. Instead of that, you now run a device off chain.
Okay.
That device could be Garbled circuit.
Mm-hmm.
And then basically the device says that if the proof is incorrect, then a secret can be revealed.
So it's like just infinitely more data efficient.
It's infinitely data more efficient on chain.
Right.
Because instead of revealing 4 megabytes,
right.
you only have to reveal a secret, which is about 200 bytes.
That's wild, yeah.
So that's what the cryptography can do for you.
It's often that is dramatic. What cryptography can do for you.
Yeah, cryptography is very dramatic.
Very dramatic. It's amazing. It's incredible. It's a wild difference.
Yeah.
Super interesting.
So it is to give you. It is Jeremy Rubin.
Thank you, Jeremy Rubin.
Came up with this observation that the same BitVM2 goal can be achieved in a much cheaper on-chain way using Garbled circuit.
What a G, Jeremy Rubin.
Quite a genius.
What a legend. Quite a G, yes.
Yes, I have to say that too, because this is very similar to a problem that I was solving. I was trying to solve. And I also asked Dan Bonnet and so forth.
And Dan Bonnet didn't have the answer, but Jeremy Rubin pulled through with the answer. Doesn't surprise me. Jeremy Rubin is a genius.
But Jeremy Rubin had an advantage over Dan Bonnet.
Which is?
Because when I talked with Dan Bonnet, BitVM has not appeared at that time. There was no BitVM at all.
When you originally asked him?
Yeah.
Oh, so this was like years ago. This was before, because Robin works, I believe. Works with Dan.
2.5 years ago.
Okay. So
this was when we just invented Bitcoin staking.
This was before before Robin was at Stanford.
Yeah, before Robin was at Stanford, and even before Robin came up with the BitVM
concept. It didn't even exist.
The paradigm,
yeah, it didn't exist.
So the paradigm evolved quite a bit over the years.
Right.
But then it got to a form where Jeremy Rubin figured out that you can swap the verifier execution by the Garbled circuit off-chain evaluation. And so in some sense, it's combining the BitVM2 architecture with the Garbled circuit construction to essentially solve the problem that we were trying to solve 3 years ago.
So Garbled circuits is, getting a fair amount of attention right now, unlocking BitVM, making BitVM, I think to many actually practical.
Yeah, I think this afternoon, there are at least 3 talks involved.
Everyone's covering it. This entire conference, there's going to be like 5 BitVM 3 Garbled circuits talks.
Yeah, I noticed that even Robin's talk.
Oh, Robin is all of them.
He changed his talk.
Oh, yeah. No, I saw.
No,
I was there. I was definitely involved in that. But yeah, so I think we have at least, Ekram from Citria, Robin, Liam, they're all covering some sort of Garbled circuit. So it's very hot right now. Garbled circuit's very hot. It's very sexy right now. But it's interesting because obviously this is mostly being talked about as the unlock
just the position of terms.
Garbled
circuit and sexy.
Well, that's why I remember I actually spoke to multiples of the teams about this because, I do a lot of comms and, some folks, honored me by asking me my opinion about this name. And I said, you got to change this name. I actually think me and Jeremy Rubin discussed it on my pod. Yes, Garbled.
You don't like Garbled circuit, the term, the name?
It's not sexy.
It's invented by a cryptographer.
It is, exactly. And in the 80s, no less.
In the 80s, that's right.
But anyway, so long story short, most people are looking at Garbled circuits as an unlock for bridging, obviously. This is the thing that many are saying will make BitVM practical. But what you're sharing is that this also is the unlock potentially for lending on Bitcoin. Am I hearing that right?
Yeah. So, so this afternoon, I'm going to give a talk on this concept we call it Trustless Bitcoin Vault.
Okay.
And so the idea is that we want to have instead of thinking about the bridge,
right?
Okay, a bridge connects 2 blockchains.
Right.
In the case of BitVM, it's Bitcoin and some other blockchain,
Right.
some side chain.
Right.
Our idea was, instead of thinking about connecting two blockchains, let's go for a bit more modest goal,
Okay.
which is to connect Bitcoin with a smart contract protocol, not the chain, the protocol. Okay. And I can explain why we want to do that, but there are reasons. For example, lending protocol. But the whole point here is that basically this vault can be unlocked. The money can be unlocked
with the secret key.
With the secret key based on the certain state of the smart contract. So if the smart contract achieves a certain state... So
you're going to have garbled circuits reveal based on a smart contract execution, essentially.
Yeah. In fact, more precisely, it's based on the proof of a certain execution of the smart contract.
Interesting.
The proof will be the input to the Garbled circuit.
This, in my opinion, is huge. I mean, again, I think obviously the bridging conversation, the scaling conversation, the payment, L2s are definitely, huge thing. For me personally, I'm actually most excited about lending. Like, that just feels like a very practical thing that I personally want to take advantage of as somebody who, wants to actually be able to do things like, I don't know, take out a mortgage against Bitcoin one day, perhaps, or, whatever.
Correct.
So for somebody who doesn't want to sell Bitcoin, this is in my opinion, an incredibly important, just like practical day-to-day.
Yeah, you think about
way more important to me than fast payments, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, if you think about the Bitcoin staking, it is precisely that kind of use case, right? Which is, you don't want to sell your Bitcoin, but you want to put your Bitcoin to use.
Well, I actually want to be the borrower. That's what I want to do. I want to not sell my Bitcoin and get stables or whatever. Yeah, exactly. Right. That's the real, in my opinion, that's something that maxis want. They won't admit it, but like, I think if you really think about it, like, you do not want to sell your Bitcoin to buy a house. It is probably not financial advice, but like, for me, that's not a trade that I want to make. How am I going to solve that problem? Like, that problem has not been solved. And it's, all of the like sort of TradFi crypto lending options and incredibly high interest rates. They're not practical. There's trust involved. There's all sorts of issues. Like, if we could actually figure out a way to get stables against our Bitcoin in a trustless way where we felt like, okay, we're putting up our collateral and it's trustless. Like, to me, that's the holy grail.
Yeah.
So
that's the...
You think this is going to solve that problem?
Yeah,
this solves us. So you think garbled circuits can solve that problem?
Yeah. That's what our team is working on right now.
It's very cool. Okay, amazing. And they're going to be called vaults.
Yeah, vaults.
Vaults. Trustless vaults?
Trustless vault.
Trustless vault.
Is it sexy enough?
You know what it is? It's practical. It just makes sense. Trustless vault. Sometimes you just got to say what it is and comes, let's not confuse anyone. Cool. Well, that's exciting. Well, I don't want to keep you from your talk. I'm so excited to hear it. I'll catch the recording. I have another interview after this.
Yeah, but, I'm sure you're busy.
But this is exciting. Oh, we didn't even get to talk about the proof falsification with Mara, but maybe I'll link to our previous interview that we did when you guys kind of made BitVM history. I mean, you really have been contributing to BitVM in some pretty significant ways. I don't know if Babylon gets enough credit for that. That's
our goal, because our goal is to build products that people can use.
Right.
So that's the ultimate measure of success in my mind.
Very, very cool. Very cool. But now you don't need to use Slipstream for BitVM because garbled circuits are tiny, which is good. I run BD for Slipstream and I'm like, no. Trust me, we don't want to have a need for private mempools. We want this stuff to be possible in public mempools. Yeah. So we're happy to be, we're happy to lose the business.
But Mara was what enabled us to do the experiment.
Yeah.
But that experiment taught us it's rather painful.
Yeah, exactly.
And that sort of
we'll help you if you need it, but it's not ideal.
It persuaded us to really double down on BitVM 3.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. We're very aware of that.
Because that's the value of an experiment, is that you actually get to experience the pain of trying to put this 4 megabyte transaction on chain.
Yeah, if you want to put a full ZK verifier on Bitcoin, you probably got to use a private mempool service like Slipstream. I can help you if anyone needs help, but it's not ideal.
There are teams launching with BitVM too.
There are.
Yeah. So
And
you have customers.
I do have customers. I do. And I imagine we have a thesis at Mara. I mean, broadly, or Slipstream, certainly our team definitely believes that there will be an infinite number of use cases for putting data on chain, and that it won't stop here. And and Mara is excited to support that. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. Thank you so much, David. This was really fun. Thank you.
Yeah.